All righty. If you are here to do Fall Chickadee, that's what we're going to do tonight. And that is part of this Critter Square series that I'm doing in acrylics and colored pencils. So some in acrylics, some in pencils. And hopefully you can find some sort of easel display for that. And don't forget, you better get going on your series, because this little bunny will be a make and take at the virtual convention in March. And I'm thinking of something for Christmas. I wasn't going to do something for Christmas, but I think I will do something for Christmas. So stay tuned for that. So shall we get rolling?
Or you could hold off until a few more people join. We're at about 12 sets of eyes right now. Okay. And I know there was like 85 people said they wanted to join us. So I don't know if you want to, just go through a walk through your little critters. And
so we started off with Gibbs, and that was acrylic. And so then we thought we would do a colored pencil. And then some friend of mine suggested that we should do a happy birthday one. So that one's available, and you do that one on your own. It's very small, little bits. You can do that one on your own. And then don't forget, the virtual convention is, excuse me, the catalog is open. Now this is going to be a make and take. So that'll be a pre-recorded for everybody who has signed up for the convention, and then they have the Facebook and it's all in there. So you should get the convention book and read about that. And this was one of the Christmas ones that I did. This is going to be my Orny Ollie Orny. And I'm going to be mailing this one to the appropriate family soon. And then I thought maybe we would do a cardinal, probably. I'm thinking we should do a cardinal in colored pencil for these little things too. And it's just too much fun. We're just having way too much fun with all these little mini squares. And how are we doing now, Cindy? Should we get going on this?
We are at about 27, and people are saying that there are other people looking for you on here. So if you are, thank you. Number one, thank you for being here with Lydia tonight, and we're excited to get the program started. But if you have a friend in the Artfully Connected Facebook group that you know who wanted to be here tonight, or even if they didn't know they want to be here tonight, you can go ahead and type their name in the comment and hit return, and that will tag them. Maybe they'll find it in their notifications and they can come join you in watching this little project with this beautifully, even though little, beautiful project with Lydia. So yay, Bonnie's here, and Beth is saying hi, Lydia, nice to see you.
Hi.
Darlene's saying she's so happy to be here, and thank you, Lydia and Cindy. And so so if you have a friend in the group, please go ahead and tag them so that they don't miss out on this. However, it is being recorded, so if you have to leave, or if your friend misses it, she will or he will be able to see the replay. It was difficult to find us. Sorry, Sandra, sorry about that. We are live. I try to tell people to look for the red live button in the upper left corner of the post on the main page. And that's how we go live. So just have at it, Lydia.
All right. Well, so these are the cradled board that I've been doing everything on. So I've got this all ready. I have 2 coats of black plum on the sides. I sanded and sealed and sanded, just like regular wood stuff. And now I've got 2 coats of black plum on there. And I have also varnished that. And so when I'm finished of this, I will spray it with a workable fixative. And that's just to sort of protect it. I will be using a glue, this natural or neutral pH adhesive, and I'll just be gluing all that on and spreading it, nice and even, and then just placing it right in there. I've got this cut to about 4 1/4, and I could trim it in a little bit tighter. And then if there's any, just to make sure it fits before you start hacking at it. And then if you have any extra excess hanging over, when it's dry, you can just run an X-Acto knife down, down the sides and trim off that paper. And I do finish it with a coat of brush on varnish. I usually use that Deco Soft Touch, whatever, the one that's really super matte and nice and soft. That's what I tend to use. 2 coats, one this way, one that way. And then look, I've decided to put a little bit of ribbon around the outer edges just to kind of fix it all up and make it look great. All right, I think it's time to start. We're going to take white. Maybe we'll just go in a little bit tighter. Maybe not that tight. Here we go. So you are going to take your white and you're going to put in your sparkle. It's just to the back of the eye. And about, let's say, 1 or 2 o'clock. So you'll put that in, and then the big thing with colored pencil is you need to make the white where you want it and then bring the black in. You kind of don't do it the other way around because the white doesn't really cover that well. So I am going to color this in the cheek. So I started at the front. And then I'm making it, the wispies come down and maybe make them a little bit further than you think so that you can bring that black back. And then you'll just color in the middle and then think about your edges again. Bring out the wispies. So a little bit further than you think. And then you just color in again the cheeky part here. I mean, you're coloring with direction. You're always keeping in mind what it is that you're trying to make. You wouldn't color straight sideways or anything like that. You'd bring some up, bring some down. Okay, so here we go down now into the chest. And you see, I am pressing relatively hard. All right, here we go again, filling in. This is a little bit of a dark, see a little bit of a dark thing happening there. Now, when you come up to the throat, you will do it the opposite way. So these ones came down, these ones came up, and then you're going to push those into the throat area. And again, knowing that you will be bringing that black or the dark colors back into the white. So a little jig-jaggy kind of a thing. All right, time to sharpen, I think. Now we know this is going to be darkish, and we will bring the white on the opposite side there. You don't have to be too careful. You can cover over that graphite because you know it's going to be grayed anyhow. All right. Now, lots of times, if you people kind of just go straight down, if you want a chubby little guy, you need to bring your strokes kind of out sideways and then bring them down and then bring them around. Okay, here we go. Now they're fuzzy, but not too fuzzy. They're not little kittens. So we can have a jaggy edge, but nothing too fuzzy. Okay, so these ones are coming this way. Then we're coming around, and you can see I'm doing it relatively quickly, and you know, I'm not worrying too much about my pencil now because this is all just needs to be filled right in. When I get to an edge, I will pay attention. So just going in here, coloring it all, trying to get that rounded look. Coming up to my edge, and then time to pay attention. I'll sharpen again. So have a look at this. See these little things coming this way? They're kind of curved down till about here. And then these ones kind of curve up. So you've got some little fluffies starting in here and then coming up. And then you have little fluffies coming down. And it'll be a little bit more yellow by the time we're ending on it, because that's going to be whiter up here and then sort of a creamyish yellow. Chickadees aren't white on their bellies. They're white cheeks, but they're not really white on their bellies. So again, we're bringing our little fuzzies maybe a little bit further than we think, because we have a dark that's going to come back in. And right about here, change the direction.
So we have a question from the audience.
Okay, all right.
I guess they were really interested to know how you did your background.
Well, so I just love a pan pastel background. If you don't have pan pastels, you know, there's lots of other things you could do, but I just put a random yellow and orange pan pastels and yeah, just random blotchies. And then I sprayed them with a workable fixative and put the pattern on. You can see by the time you're done, obviously we don't need pan pastels there. I just thought that it would be kind of fun to put it in and then maybe don't have to work so hard with the petals. If you had maybe just a yellow piece of mat board or something like that, you can get the same effect.
Just so you know, Sandra's here and she is penciling with you on the Chickadee tonight.
Excellent.
Yeah, and Gail said she's going to try and pencil along with you. We've got Carol, hi from New York. I'm excited to be here. Yay! And Bonnie's here. Let's see. A lot of people are happy to be here, and we are happy you are here. It is difficult. Well, people found us. That's good. I finally went to the Artfully Connected group. Yes, please tell all your friends, come to the Artfully Connected group. Watching and penciling with you, says Mary Klein.
Great.
So we got a lot of people who are going to be penciling along with you. And there was another question. Can you describe, okay, you did the background and what kind of pencils you're using?
I use Prismacolor still.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did she already did the background? She did it before tonight, yes. Right? So you were ready to go. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Because you don't want to sit here waiting for me to run outside to spray it. I don't think you do.
So I'm all caught up on all the comments, and keep them coming. If you have any questions for Lydia, I will ask for you. Thanks.
All right. So I have been using black on the eye. And this is where, if you figure that maybe you did something, you don't like the sparkle, this is where you can give it a little bit of a shave. Sometimes you put the sparkle too much into the center, and you can just kind of shave it out if you need to. If you did it perfectly, well, that's great. And I did it perfectly this time, but I just whipped up 2 this week and both of those were not perfect. So I know you can do that. Now, the next color is going to be dark purple. And it's just, I've gone with a bit of a complementary color scheme here. And I usually try not to always pick black when you think of black or brown or something like that. So what I did as I started with dark purple and then I put the black over top. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to take this purple and little tiny short strokes and we're coloring in just like in a linear way, and we're trying to fit in between some of those white. Now don't get too carried away and bring the purple all the way into the white. That will be for the black. So you're just trying to put in a little something something with the dark purple. Don't press too hard. This is just a little something. And you will also be coloring the head. Like I say, just nice and lightly. Come up to the edge, but don't go too far. I mean, technically you could have put the black on and then tried to put the purple over top, but I just decided we would do it this way. So I'm just tickling it in very gently. And we have a little bit of the purple just in the back here as well. And I'm thinking that I didn't put enough white in here, so I'm just going to go back and put the white in just to fill up that little area there. All right, now under the tail and under the wings, so you can see we also have some really dark areas there and this little area here too. And that's what I mean with the under the wing. It's not in the background. We'll get to that in a minute, but and this little part in here. Here we go. Again, just lightly, just so that when we put the black on, we've got a little something else that's, you know, just going to make it a little bit nicer. Okay. And then we're going to take terracotta, the same idea of putting something else underneath the black. And in my picture anyways, it looked like a brown black. So that's why I went with the terracotta on the beak. And we want warm gray 50. And my warm gray 50 is broken. And we will be coloring the legs and the back with warm gray 50. Well, I'm not doing very well with my pencils today. It's breaking. And we were also going to do a little bit of that, a few lines in this patch here. So these will be just a few lines for that. And we will color sort of like a curvy line for the back and the wings here. And we will also do the top of this tail part. Right in here, there's a little bit of gray. See, we're doing this part, we're doing this part, we're doing this here, just with some lines. And then of course, we'll color in the legs. Very easy, just whip those up.
So I want it's TNGER Dolly Chloe says this is extremely enjoyable.
I'm glad to hear that.
And Linda's saying this is just wonderful. Thank you.
Super. All right, so part of the other things that I like to do is I like to use this Gamsol as my little spirits, odorless mineral spirits, and I put it in one of these. Oops, there we go. That's too much. That's why you put the paper towel out here and give it a little. I'll give it a little press and see if it's coming out. Now, this is a Faber-Castell one. I also have Derwent, and I've got all manner of brands. So you can see, in fact, maybe the Derwent might be the one that I would like today, because that was a little bit surprising when it came out like that. And I just start it on that paper towel, and then I just going to rub gently on anything that I have already colored. So you can see how it intensifies the purple quite a bit. It works really, really, or I mean, it works on every color, but you can really see what it's doing on these darker colors. When I get to the white, you won't see that much. You know, we won't see much of what's happening. Okay, so I'm just rubbing along, and if you want to start it again, if you think that you need to be pressing it one more time, that's fine.
So Juliet is saying it's amazing how soft looking the bird looks with pencil. I had no idea.
Yeah, colored pencil, you can do lots of different things with it. It's quite a pretty cool medium. I think that's why it's remained very popular. So many styles too.
Ellen says she wants to learn learn about using OMS. Wanted to learn. She wanted to learn about using OMS.
All right, good. All right. You can see that it doesn't do all that much on the white. You can see what is happening when you do it on a darker color. And so the only thing is that now that I've sort of done into the black, I wouldn't jump over to the white unless I wiped the tip of the brush, and then I could move in. For this particular one, it's not that big a deal. There's still more steps to come, and you know, we'll add some shading, but you just have to really make sure that you don't go from the dark into the light, and it just will pick up and move on.
So here's a question.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't have that pen, that brush that you're using, do we use a regular small brush?
Well, you certainly could. I mean, it's the same idea. It's just that it does evaporate. If it's just in a dish sitting on your desk, it's evaporating. And just because you can't smell it does not mean it's not coming into the air. And then you walk off to answer the phone, and maybe a kid or a cat or something gets into it. It's these, you should probably try to get one of these to put it in, because I just leave them in here and I store it like that. I've really never had any leakage problems or anything like that. I just lay them down, or I even stick them in a jar, and they're there ready for me to start up with again anytime I want.
Excellent. And Julie's asking, is this a blending gel? You can explain.
Well, it's not a gel. No, it's some odorless mineral spirits. And people use this often with oil. There we go. Remove, it's used to thin oil painting and oil colors and painting mediums, general studio, you can clean things up, that kind of stuff. So it's not a gel, it's very much a liquid. And it just sort of breaks down the wax and moves things around a little bit. And then we put another layer on top. It's just the way I like to work with smoothing things out.
Do you happen to sell those on your site?
No. The little these water brushes?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, they're really easy to find.
The hobby stores, right?
Yeah, water brush. Google that. Dick Blick has them. Artorama has them, and it doesn't have to be this brand. I just kind of go with the round, medium round. Doesn't even have to be that. Like, don't get the smallest one, thinking that's going to be a great idea. Just get whatever like I say, I stuck with a round mostly. And there's some Niji and something that starts with an S, Sakura, and all that. Just get whatever. Low Canal has one. So doesn't have to be specific, I guess is what I'm saying. All right, white is next. We are going to just do a little highlight on the legs. I'd say kind of at the front, but this is also burnishing and smoothing. So little smaller strokes. So you see when we were up here, you were just going with gay abandon. Now we're on a little tiny area and we're just pulling back, popping in that highlight, nice light touch. And then we will take our warm gray 50 and just go back and forth between these colors maybe a couple of times. Okay, so I put the warm gray on there and now I'm back to the white. And you don't want a stripe. You just want a little glint of a highlight to indicate roundness. I think he has one chunky leg and one slim leg.
Don't we all? Phyllis? No, Carol has a question. Can you use a colorless blender instead?
I use that too. It doesn't work quite the same way. Like I would use maybe a colorless blender now on these legs after I've put a few other things on it. You don't want to use your colorless blender too soon because what you're doing there is putting wax on your piece. This is not putting wax on the piece. This is actually almost taking it off in some ways. But once I've got a bunch of layers of my white, and then I did the warm gray 50, and then I did the warm gray 90 for even more of a shadow up here. Now, if I want to smooth something, I can take the colorless blender and I can smooth that. And that's adding more wax, but I know that that's fine because I'm finished with those legs and adding wax won't deter me from, like I don't have to put more layers on there. You just have to be careful with wax buildup. Okay, so we have some legs done. That's good. And let's see, we will sharpen up our white again, and we're going to outline around the eye. So very sharp, 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 sharp. And you are going to put, mostly you can see I'm putting it, even though I said outline the whole eye, I'm doing more at the front and less at the back. And if something like this happens where you decide that you flattened out your eye, just take your black and round it back up again. And then I just thought, well, let's put a little highlight behind there, maybe a little bit in front. And we're going to highlight or begin the highlight at the front of his head as well. Not too much because it's quite waxy and we still have to actually make the head black, don't we? Okay. Jumping around a little bit, we are going to put warm gray 90 under the tail. And this is where we can kind of come back and start to really make sure that that's what we want along that edge. I'm just doing a circle. Coloring that in. There's a little bit on this side of the leg too. Don't forget that. And there's the wing. So here we go again. Try to just go backwards into the fuzz. Okay, got that. We got that. And we are going to do a little something, just a little something on the cheeks, kind of right in here behind this little edge here to kind of make it the cheek slash, and then it's going to roll down into the belly. And maybe, do you have this? This is a very nice little thing to get. Just adds, like, you don't want to look at this little bird and just have this big white pom-pom. We have to put a little something, you know, make it an interesting shape. I'm just going to put a little bit here and there. There's no real rhyme or reason. You're just adding another little layer of something, and maybe under the eye. Don't do too much because we actually do want this to be white at the end of it. So I put some here, and I put some kind of in this little area, maybe a bit here. Try to get this little chest part and a little something, something over there. All right. Let's do a little bit on this sunflower next. And that's going to be with dark purple also. And there we go. We're going to just do circles, 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 circles. And this edge is going to be all kind of circly. You're going to have crispy edges on this side, but that's a soft edge on that side. And then don't forget underneath the legs too. So this is not a horrible step, not a stressful step. It's actually kind of scribbling. I actually bought some sunflowers to check them out when I was doing this one. And they have really a textured center. Okay. Now, just because I said to scribble, doesn't mean you don't think while you're scribbling. Change directions and don't set up horrible like lines and things like that. Be very careful when you come up close to your little guy. Maybe don't come up quite so tight until we get more of him finished. Okay, sometimes I go left, sometimes I go right. And then, of course, you have to be careful on the crispy edge. You could do the same sort of a thing that we did up here, where you can just do all the center and dull your pencil and don't worry about things. Don't come completely uptight to your petals, and then sharpen up your pencil and finish up that when you have a sharp pencil for a little bit more precision, especially when you're coming down into some of those corners. And right in here, I didn't want the petal to be over top of the chickadee. But at the same time, you don't want them touching either. So if you put the pattern on and they're touching, you have to just give a little shave.
You may want to not put your head under the camera.
Oh. Well, I was
just noticing this gray fuzzy nest at the bottom of the bird, and I'm like, what is that? Oh, that's Lydia's hair.
Realistic, so realistic, eh? Oh, see, because it was a point where I had to pay attention to what I was doing.
There you go. Bring it closer. You can bring it closer to you. Yeah. Is that good, or do you want a little? You can even go a little closer.
Try to be good. I'll try to be good.
There you go. I like all the swirly swirlies.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to do some texture in there. We always seem to think that smooth is best, but I think we need texture. All right, so now I have sharpened my pencil and I can go into some of these points, these triangles, and make sure I like what I've got. And that side can be curly. All right. So hopefully it's a good looking mess. There we go. And then we have to decide what we're doing for the flowers. So in your packet, you've got this kind of a thing here. So there's your yellow paper, and then we're just going to start picking out these ribs of the petals. And you don't want to make them exactly the same. You can put 3 in, you can put 4 in, you can have a couple. Maybe you don't want to have them in every single one. So you're going to press fairly hard where you want it whitest, and then you're just going to fade it off where you will have maybe goldenrod or another yellow or something like that. So here we go. So what I'm trying to say is we don't want like stripes. We're just trying to make sort of a ribbed or a ruffle. Okay, so pressing hard where you want it to be brighter, and then you're going to fade it off.
Now you can move it up a little bit.
There we go.
Yeah, not too much. You don't have to go that far.
Okay, well, no, on mine, it's right in the middle.
There you go. So Cindy Vitale is saying that she loves the concept for layering down the initial background for the Sunflower Center. Looks like easy to do. Looks very easy to do.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so you see that now this one here is more of a sideways. That's where we're going to have the lightest there. And then just fade it off here like that. So I'll do a few and then we'll get back to the bird. How's about that? Because if the people who are coloring along, once you get the idea, you should be able to finish those off. And people who aren't coloring probably are saying already, I want to see something else.
Let us know how you're enjoying the class. And yeah, let Lydia know if there's something that you haven't seen her do yet that you'd like her to do. She's always open to ideas.
Oh yeah, that's the whole idea of doing it live. We can mix it up and decide what we want to do and change our minds. So I have gotten myself into a little bit of a pickle. I think when the people came to Gibbs, I told them this. I have got myself into having to make several series of these. Some of my kids want them and a friend of theirs wants one. And now I'm doing one for a friend of mine too. So some of these I have to do 4 or 5 of each design. They're almost like ornaments. You start them thinking it's going to be a great idea, and then all of a sudden you're doing a lot. Okay, so I'm going to just do this one here, and then you know that you'll be able to do that side as well. And in the background, this little tiny bit of background, these are just the warm grays, and you'll just color those ones in just basically color them in. Mind you, I don't ever color anything in completely even. I kind of do darker here and then fade it out as I come along. All right, so let's get some black on the throat. Here we go. And this is where you will make sure that you like your wispies. So you can be coloring along in the middle again, and then when you get to your edge, decide what you want. And look at the direction of where they'll be joining into the white. And I'm just sort of concentrating on that bottom edge right now, and then I'll concentrate on the top. That just works for me. Okay, so I think I like that. This is nice. Don't feel that it has to be an absolutely even thing all the way along. Some little jiggy jags like this make it a little bit more natural. And then to join up with the cheek, same sort of a thing. Change your direction and join it into what you've already got there. And then you can fill in that little center area if you need to. So you'll do the same thing up here. So this is where the beak will be black too, but I've tried to make this a little bit darker so that I can see where the beak is going to be. It might not end up to be that way, but we can start off and come up tight to the eye, but don't cover your white line unless your white line is way too thick and bright, in which case you will shave it with a nice sharp black and make it the size and shape that you want. So this is supposed to be a little bit of a highlight, so we can maybe not put as much black there, but again, if it disappears, no worries, we will be back to put it back in. And then we'll go back into our wispies again. And the top of the head, you know, slightly fuzzy, not a kitten.
So, sorry. So Judy's saying, love it. I'm still new to pencils, never really did birds, but I am enjoying this lesson and I might try it. Thank you.
You're quite welcome.
And then
these little things are good to sort of, you know, give yourself a try.
And Denise is asking if there's a pattern for this, and she missed the beginning, but it will be on replay after we're done. And you can get the pattern at lydiasteeves.com, right?
Yeah. Okay, so we're also coloring in the beak.
There's a request to show the pan pastels, but I believe, didn't you do a pan pastel for Artfully Connected? It's still in our library.
Could be, or just, I have lots of free sort of technique type videos or tutorials on my website. So even if you're just like super new to color pencils, they're just some color pencil basics. There's one on using the OMS, there's one on the pastels. So yeah, I would suggest zipping in and looking at a couple of those.
And then Jackie says, does your hard copy show directional lines for the feathers and on the body?
Well, it kind of does. I quite often do that, but you can see on the, you can actually see on the photos that I add in how to put the feathers on.
Brenda's asking, what do you do when you accidentally go too far with the black and lose your shape?
Oh, well, I'll be showing you that. Yes, because it's almost impossible to be perfect. I mean, you know, it's just the way it is, right? You always make boo-boos, so you have to learn how to fix them. All right, so I am doing the OMS again. And again, just look how it fills in and really intensifies the black. And I've left this little tiny line to show where the middle of the beak is, or not the middle, the lips. And as I push it in, a little bit of contamination is actually a good thing. And then as I've got some black on my brush, I can actually make it work for me. I could maybe move that shadow a little bit further. And you'll notice that I'm just wiping on my paper towel. Just be a little bit careful. Just see what you've got on the end of your brush. There we go. Just kind of work away there. And while we're here, we can maybe put it on this, the center, because remember what I was saying, it looks good on the dark colors. You don't really have to put it on the white. You can. There we go. And now you can bump right up to the bird, because now we know exactly where our bird is and we won't lose any bits. It's not like watercolor. It's not going to run all over the place with this stuff. So you don't really have to worry about that. You have to be that careful.
We have a fan here. Debbie Brown says she was late coming in too, but loving the demo and wanted to say thank you for scheduling the SAM class.
Well, thank you for asking, because I wouldn't have, because yeah, but I'm very glad to teach him.
Yep, she can't wait. Susan is saying, what are you penciling on for the people?
This is Stonehenge paper. And Stonehenge paper comes in some toned colors. This is, I don't know, this might be called natural or something like that. And there's a craft color, and there's black, and there's warm white and things like that. I tend to like a toned color. And I do like this paper. I was playing with a few other things the other day, and then I came back to my Stonehenge, and I like it. Now, if you feel that you would just like a little bit more coverage, you could take one of these moon scrubbers. I've just picked those up at conventions, Scharf, and I actually do sell these too. And I just have the two sizes. So this one is a 0. Now there are other things you can rub with. I used to use those gray paper stumps. They're very pointed, and they would be good for something like this. But I like that. I've just changed over to this brush now because I can clean it, and I can keep using it and using it and using it. All right, so I like that now. I like that coverage. It's nice and black. Chickadees have black heads. So you'll also wipe this clean too, just to make sure, because maybe you're going to need it when you're in the yellow or the white area, and you just don't want to get that horrible surprise. Okay, if you need to add anything else, you can go ahead and do that. For instance, if we decide we completely lost our white or our light, you could put a little bit of that back. Maybe you need to highlight the edge of the beak ever so gently. And I think I also highlighted the top of this beak, just because you've got a dark background and a dark beak, and I don't know, I like to see the edge of the beak. So I'll just put a little bit of a highlight there. All right, that's enough fussing for there. Let's continue on with the rest of the bird. You can always come back and add more. And you really can't tell how bright you need to go until you get more of the bits around it. So we can take our warm 20. And what we're going to do now is we're going to just get a little bit of a fuzzy impressionistic look on the back shoulder there and in here. We're going to start off with this warm 20. And you're just going to do it. Put it in, won't show too much, mostly on that outer edge. Don't keep pressing and pressing and pressing just to make it show. You just put a little bit on, knowing that we have a couple more colors to do. And if you get carried away with this color, then the next colors are going to be more difficult to add. So we've got that warm 20. We can add a little bit of white if you really, really can't see. And what I do like to do with the white is maybe make a couple of fairly defined lines. You can see, I hope, right there. This one right there. And I think I've got a couple on this side here too. Because that's that one wing that we have shaded underneath. So we will try to make it actually look like, you know, that's the one that's we want to see. And then let's put another one and maybe one more. You can see that's the bigger one, and then a little bit smaller and a little bit smaller. And we can do it to this side too. So this edge comes here. And maybe one more, and let's go with 3. There.
Bonnie is asking if Sam is also the colored pencil.
No, Sam is very much acrylic with texture paste and all manner of very fun things to do. All right. So we had, I think, what was that? Warm gray 50 on there. What color was that? I don't know. Can't remember. Let's go with warm gray 90 now and just put in a little bit of darkness along. So that's the light edge. This is the dark edge. Now we don't want to end up with stripes. Okay. You don't want to have exactly, you know, 1 millimeter along here and exactly a stripe of dark along there. Have a little bit of mingling. Maybe come down in between your lines that you've made. And you get to repeat anything that you would like. So you could repeat the warm gray 20 if you think it would work. Oh, there it is. You see, it was just hiding. The warm gray 50, which is the one that we had originally. And you just repeat things. Until you have a back that is a little bit brighter at the top and a little bit darker. I think I can go a little bit darker here. And don't forget the wispies. We're working from the dark into the light. Got a little bit more white. It's up to you, of course. But notice how I'm putting it on. It's not the same whiteness from this edge all the way down. It's more like a shape, maybe like a triangle shape. And if you got carried away with the dark, then you just bring them. back and forth until you have what you like. Okay, and we'll do a couple more things on the sunflower. Oh, don't forget that you could rub. If you just want it a little bit smoother, you could just give it a little bit of a rub. And then clean your brush. So on the sunflowers, we've got the white. And now what we're going to try to do is bring some of the goldenrod into the white, like kind of go between. So you see where we did the white, dark, white. So now we're putting the goldenrod between. Same idea, just working backwards, and then hopefully fade it as you go over top of the white. If you go too far, that's okay. It's better to go too far and maybe lose some of the white than to try to try to force it to make it work. And then just end up with stripes. You're looking for softer shapes. You can always come back with the white. And we have canary yellow too, that we could put a little bit of yellow to get it back if we need to. All right, so I'm starting between the white or wherever the white isn't, and then go into where the white is softly. They're a quiet bunch, Cindy. You think they're sleeping?
Not at all. Not at all. There is a lot of people who are coloring with you.
Oh,
a lot of them are just what we are up to, like 84. We were up to 90 at one time, and there's 84 pairs of eyes looking at you.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah, is the Christmas kitten pattern available now? If she's talking about Ollie from the ornament.
Okay, so Ollie,
I don't know. I'm asking her. So
okay.
Brenda, which Christmas kitten are you talking about? Nancy says colors seem to blend better with this paper. Which paper do you like best and prefer to work on?
I do like the Stonehenge. That is my preferred. I've tried a few others, and lots of things do work, and everybody likes to have the different ones. But I like this. I like smooth. I like to make my own texture.
Susan wants to reassure you, we are not sleeping. We are mesmerized. And yes, Ollie. So you can talk about Ollie again.
Oh, okay. So that is my ornament of the month club.
Well, for ARPA webinars.
Yes. Is there any other?
Well, you said my ornament of the club, month club.
Ornament of the month club for the seminar for sure.
Yes.
For sure. Yes, and I did it on ornaments. Obviously, it's just that I know a little family that has that's a cat family, and they have two little girls that are about I think like 3 and 1 or something. And don't you think this would be so cute?
Oh, it's adorable.
In the morning they put this, and when they go to bed they put that.
I love the glitter too.
Oh, well, it's Christmas. You got to have some glitter. So now if you need to put another layer of your purple, you could put another layer of purple. I don't think I need to at this particular stage. I think I won't do that just quite yet because I think I already did a fair bit. So let's see, you could put some 50%. I'm just following along on the pattern. If you're doing the background here, so this is where I was saying that I would do it a little bit darker in the center, and then I just kind of fade it up here. You want some of that yellow to show. You don't really want to cover all the yellow. Okay, so those are the steps that I would do there. And then we'll go and finish off the little chickadee a little bit more. And then I can show you how to remove some of the black if you got it in the wrong spot, like to make more wispies. You will get So we'll take the white. Oops. See, even the white has terrible stuff. Look at that. Look at that. All right. Well, we're going to do that right now. So you'll take a piece of tape and you'll put that tape right there and you will color off and pull it away. And that's how you do it. And then you put your white back on top. So here we go. We want to make this very, very white. And you can see that I'm pulling up bits, little bits. That's okay, because we really, really want this to be white. So I'm coloring it, color, color, color. Look, I'm in the middle. And then when I've got that sort of straightened around, take all the little bits off. And then we sharpen our pencil and we do our edges. Just have to be just a little bit careful with the edges. And you will. White is it's a very soft pencil, so it's going to break on you. That's okay. So you're coming along and you're pushing into your black, checking your point, making sure it doesn't have too much black. A little bit's fine. But if you forget, you're going to pick up that black and you're going to end up putting it into your white. But you also have to tell yourself too, it's not that you want it pure white. That doesn't actually help. If we wanted it pure white, we'd cut out on a piece of paper and we'd stick it down. That it just isn't gonna be what we want. All right, so we just kind of do that. Get a few little wispies here and there. Maybe they're perfect. Maybe you don't need to do this. Maybe you have exactly what you want. All right, just kind of move it along, get some little fuzzies. And let's see, we'll do another one over here. So let's say that I want to have a wispy right in here, or make this one a bit longer. I'll take, I think you should probably take a regular pencil, not a pencil crayon, and pull that off. And then you can just bring some white back in. Now I have a little bit of a fuzz right in there. Can you see that? There we go. Looks pretty good. I think it looks good. Right in here, see, I would say that I need more black. And just kind of push it back that way. And we have one more step, so don't go, because I want to show you how to use that Neocolor water-soluble wax pastel too, because that's going to be the final bit of white.
Water soluble wax pastel.
I know. It actually, you can put it down and add water and it just kind of smooshes around too. I actually have used it that way, but usually I just put it on as a white final. So if you feel that your white pencil is just not performing, it just means that there's too much wax already down there. And you can still, now that I've showed you this, you can take off any color really. And once you've taken off that wax, you can go back and add something and it will stick, I guess, better. So if it's slicking around on you, it just means you've got too much stuff actually on the surface of your paper and it needs to be taken off. White doesn't, it puts down a lot of wax and you know, then it just kind of sits there and is all kind of slick, makes a slick surface. So you just keep going. Same idea. Figure out if you like your edge. I've shown you how to fix it if you don't. And now we're just going to whiten up the chest. Only to about here though.
So Brenda's saying, thank you for the removal tip. I tend to get too relaxed and my pencil travels where it wants to go. Now I can repair those wandering lines.
Yeah, no, it's so simple, so low tech. Okay, so I was going to show you. So you see, it's whitish here. But down here, we have more of that tan, sort of yellowy color of a chickadee's belly. All right, so we're just going to, let's see, put a little more white in here. I'm just going to wipe off this debris. Gently, gently, gently when you wipe too, because you really, everything's kind of soft. So you don't really want to rub really hard. Now, do we like our little marking here? If we need to put any of the warm grays, this is the warm 90. And there is the warm 50. It's not really a marking. It seems to be just the a dark piece. And then this is the warm 20, and that just kind of smooths things out a little bit. And again, we'll put that Neocolor 2 right in there. So now I'm thinking that this looks pretty good. And let's just put a little bit of that yellow ochre. I'm just on the side of the pencil, and I'm just making that sandy color. Towards the bottom. Maybe up here too a little bit. Check to see if your brush is clean. And if you'd like to smooth things out a bit, you can. You can add the white depending on where you want it. Like if you put too much yellow on, then you got to bring the white back. You know. Do you want some goldenrod? I don't know.
Pauline was saying that she prepared this baby tonight somewhat, but watching carefully to make sure that I do it right. These little tips make the difference when shopping today to buy a special white pencil.
Oh, yes, I need to buy them by the 24 pack, I think. All right, so pretty much, let's see. I think we would like to maybe take the warm gray 20 and just highlight that bottom edge of that tail. Yeah, I think that looks a little bit better. And again, like I say, you can, if you want a little bit darker, you can put some more of your warm 90 on. Don't know if I'd go to black. You could maybe. You'd have to be a little bit careful because this should be the blackest. All right, so we can finish off. You see, it really doesn't take that long. Surprise, surprise, hey? So on the flower, we will put in a shade, and that's going to be with terracotta. And you'll start in those deep corners and you'll just pull it out just enough to shade and separate these petals. And at that particular point, you can make sure that you grab those graphite lines and incorporate those into the shadow. If you have, no, I think you should be okay, because there should be a shadow on every edge here where you've got a graphite line. And that's where you just kind of pull it in with the terracotta. And right in here too. Now on a big one like this, you can pull it a little bit further. And just keep in mind the shape of, those ribs and what we were trying to do with the other two colors. And let's see, one over here too. All right. So if you decide you need to put more white on, maybe you can just kind of perk up the tips, and we'll finish it up with some canary yellow. Where's my canary yellow? Here we go.
That wasn't a purple pencil, right? Someone said it looks like a purple pencil. The one before the yellow was that?
That was terracotta.
Terracotta. There you go.
Yeah.
Nothing like the color in Deco Art Americana paint.
No, not at all. All right. Yeah, so just to finish up your petals, I think the canary yellow is quite nice over top of anything. Well, you can color the whole darn the petal canary yellow because it's a good color. But you definitely don't want to leave the white pale pasty, it's just too pale. So you're just going to put the canary yellow and bring that yellow back. Now we have to do a little something more, I think, to our center. And you could take your warm gray 90 and just bring in a little bit of a shadow that's not the purple. Now, if you decide that you're going to put this on a wood, like I did, and then use that brush on varnish, the brush on varnish, it kind of intensifies the purple a little bit. And if you don't think you want that, then you definitely want to do this particular shadow with the warm 90. And not with the, don't get carried away with the purple is what I'm saying. Even though I know people love purple. So I'm just putting a little something of this. So you just kind of tuck it in. Just tuck it in, maybe a little bit here.
Did you explain to them what you used to adhere the paper to the hard surface?
I did at the very, very beginning, but I could do that again. So I use this cradled board or wood panel. It's like the stretcher of a canvas. And then there is a thin bit of Baltic birch on the top. And that's the only thing that's different between a canvas stretcher and this cradled board. So it has the same stretcher frame, except that you stretch a canvas or you put the cradled board on there, or the birch on. So I sand and sealed and sand again. Then I painted the edge with black plum and I varnished it. So that's all ready. Then we'll go out and I'll spray this with a workable fixative or a varnish, whatever you want. And then I used this adhesive, natural pH, I don't know why I call it natural, it's neutral pH adhesive from this Line Co company. And I'm sure there's other ones around there. Just squeeze it on. Take a stiff piece of cardboard and smooth it out. And then stick it on. And just be careful. Like, you know, I just kind of kept pushing it on. And if you have too much, it'll squeeze out the side, of course. You'll just clean it up. And that's why you want to make sure that you've got some sort of protection on your paper, and you want this already finished as well. And then you can just wipe it, should wipe up nice and clean. I often have stuff that squeezes out and I just clean it up.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. All right, so we're just going to do this. If you think that you need to have something else in the middle, I think one of the ones that I did this week, I decided that I would like to have a little bit of a gray, lighter area. You can experiment. I've done them 2 or 3 different ways now. Let's see, let's just put this on again. I like the look that, or the result, when I do this. So I'm just going to finish off with doing that with this too. And I could have done it on the terracotta, the shadow on the petals. So if I wanted to do that, I would make sure that I wiped the tip and then I would go into the petals. Yeah, I like that now. I said that's, I don't know, that looks nice to me. If you don't like it, of course, I mean, I guess you could do something else. And yep, I'm going to do this too because I like this. So we're getting to the end. Does anybody have any other questions? Anything that I forgot that you're thinking, oh, she didn't tell me that?
Nope. So far, everyone is thanking you and saying how beautiful or how adorable he is.
Oh, don't go, don't go. You see, they are sleeping. Sleeping. There you go. You see, I promised I was going to show you how to do this. So this is what this Neocolor 2 Aquarelle water-soluble wax pastel. So what you will do is right here where we want this.
Not your hair, not your hair.
It's gray enough. So I am pressing quite hard right there where I want it white.
I'm not sure. Jackie's asking size, please. So is that size of the crayon? Is that size, what size of the bird?
What do you mean?
I don't know. She just says size, please.
Of this thing, it just comes like this. It's just like buying a pencil or a pastel or whatever.
There you go.
This is my finger.
Like a crayon.
I guess so, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't look like a pencil. It's not like a pencil.
No.
No. Okay.
Okay, so when using the OMS on the yellow petals. Could you have just used the blending brush?
Yes, if you are at the end, you can use a blending brush. It doesn't look the same. But if you are trying to avoid buying using the OMS, yes, you could use it at this particular stage because we really aren't going to do anything more on it.
Huh. So you only use that crayon on his face?
Pretty much where you want it the whitest. So here I put it in right in here, and then I like to have it right in here as well. So it's nice and bright. And then you can just take your brush and just sort of soften the edges. And you can put a few lines of white as well.
Nancy's asking, does the Gamsol have an alcohol or baby oil base? As I have used a tiny bit of baby oil on a Q-tip before to try and blended that way. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, lots of people like to bring things into artwork like hairspray instead of workable fixative and baby oil instead of the Gamsol. I just don't. I think baby oil is for babies, and but it is an oil-based thing. So yes, but I don't use baby oil. I use this because it's made for art and it's not greasy. It's not greasy. I think baby oil might be a bit on the greasy side. All right. I think that's it. So all I will have to do tomorrow is finish off those little guys in exactly the same way that I did that. So yeah, I'll spray it and glue it down. And like I say, I have started to do things like this too.
Is that a ribbon?
Yeah, a bit of a ribbon on the sides of some things.
Nice.
To kind of do that. And then I have been trying to find little accents like this. I've only so far been able to do that for the Halloween one. So it's a brooch. Just happen to find it at the pharmacy, and I'm just sort of I'm not even gluing it. I'm just sort of hanging it at the top of my easel. And I think I should be able to find one okay for Christmas. Shopping and wandering through stores is limited, of course.
Yes.
Maybe next year I'll be able to complete the section, but that's the idea, I think. It looks kind of fun, especially for the holiday ones.
Karen's like spray finish on top. So do you finish it with the workable fixative or you go over it with the...
So I definitely sprayed it with the workable fixative. And then this one here, because I glued it down, and with the workable fixative, you'll get different things will be different shininess. And I like to have it one shiny matte, whatever. And this one here, I believe I use that Soft Touch. That's what it's called, Soft Touch from Deco Art. But you can use anything. Any of your favorite ones. If you want a glossy one, you could use a gloss. And if you wanted matte or a satin, you can use a satin as well. So I think that looks okay, right? I think we're getting there.
It looks awesome.
Yeah.
And everyone's loving it and everyone's thanking you. And Lydia will go back and read the comments so she can answer things there as well. If you're watching the replay when this is over and you have questions, please post them there. If you can tag Lydia by starting out asking Lydia Steeves, and then she will see them and answer your questions. Really, Carolyn really enjoyed this, learned so much from this short lesson. Thank you for doing this. Thank you, Carolyn, for being here. Someone else said, we really appreciate all this encouragement to create. That was from Pauline.
Right.
I hate to butcher people's names, but Salomaya says, thank you. You have inspired me to try this project, and there are people who are also going to be going to purchase this packet. So I put your website in there again. So yeah, please do support Lydia so she can give us some more of these lovely little squares that she's doing a bunch of series of.
Yeah. Well, they're all going to be a little bit different. Some cute, some birds, you know, different things like that. So it'll be lots of fun.
So is it going to say goodnight, Lydia?
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks. Thank you, Cindy.
You're welcome, Lydia. Thank you very much.